Okay, we're live. I had
Yeah.
five things in my head to say as we went live, and they all clashed with each other, and I just sat in silence. Before we get into business, I just want to show everyone something. Um, this is purely self-serving. This has nothing to do with you, so you just have to sit through it.
It's okay.
So Vindicate has made T-shirts, and there's a pre-sale on the T-shirts, and the pre-sale is until Monday. So it has the logo on the front. It says good stuff on the back because I do a debate show on Wednesdays and I way overuse that phrase. But we've got purple, like purple kind of tie-dye, yellow kind of tie-dye, plain black, and like blue.
Very
Uh,
nice.
yeah.
I like the purple one.
Yeah, Augustus is right. So initially the pre-sale was supposed to be until Friday, but I asked Travis if we could extend it to Monday because I'll be on Kiltaylor on Saturday, so I might get might get one more sale. So I asked him to hold off. So if anybody wants one, you can go to, I'll put the link in the live chat, and then even people retroactively watching it should be able to find it. So if you want to buy a t-shirt, you can go there, pre-sale, and I'd really appreciate the support on that. There was something else I was going to say.
Go buy
Congratulations, Lena. So just this weekend in Knoxville.
Yeah.
What did you think of competing in? Because you've competed in Europe like all your life. You've obviously done like external competitions, like you've done Dubai, you've done other things. But how did a semi-finals in America compare to a semi-finals in Europe?
It was different for sure. I realized like the bond I created with the European athletes in general, competing in like strength in depth and Madrid Championship and like bigger European competitions. And even in Dubai, I usually end up talking or like bonding with the European athletes. And even at the games too, I have like the teams next to my lanes.
Yeah.
And we were usually in second or third or first or something. So it would be like the Mayhem team or Reykjavik and the Invictus team. Like that's the people you end up waiting and spending a lot of time with. But outside of that, I haven't really spoken much with American athletes. So just suddenly I felt so like, oh, I don't know anyone. I made a few friends, so that's good. Hopefully, I have some friendly faces to say hi to. But yeah, that was different. It was something I didn't realize I would think about, and even the crowd too, like people watching. They like the other gyms had so many like probably gym members, family members, and people just coming in to watch them. Maybe it's like you don't share on the people that are winning because it's like you would rather like the fight for who can make the game spots is more important than seeing another team win. So it's just felt different, I guess.
There's probably an aspect of I don't know.
And I
if you
guess they
follow,
don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know if you follow soccer at all, but there's probably an aspect of like Man City or Real Madrid about it, where it's like it's essentially a super team and it's competing against affiliate teams. So at this stage of the season, at the semi-final stage of the season, you're going to have people who know all of you guys and love all of you guys. There's going to be people from Peak or from Miami or whatever, but there's also going to be people just globally who like have followed Noah for years and have followed Toll around the different teams and know you and Matilda from Europe and stuff. And then outside of that, there's probably going to be detractors. There's probably going to be people who are like, oh, screw them. I don't want them to get through. I want like this pure affiliate team to get through or whatever. I want this pure, like 4 people who happen to go to the same gym go through.
And that's the love we had from Navy Blue the previous year, because we were that 4 people from the same affiliate, like fighting against Mayhem. And we got that like the people who didn't love mayhem loved us, you know, and we would like the underdogs coming through. And it's different. I'm not saying I received a lot of love from people watching the Syndicate Crown too. They were super sweet. It was just different than what I'm used to.
I think the next stage, like the game stage, it will be different too, because I think then it's like a Clash of the Titans. Like people are ready for that stage, for that aspect of it. They want like the super teams up against, like they want the Invictus, you guys, the two Australian teams, like they want the famous faces to face off against each other and fight. And then, as you say, there'll be those other teams, like there's still Oslo teams, there's still like other European, like Prestanda, those kind of guys or whatever, who will be the unknowns coming in or whatever, and making it, you know, kind of interesting or whatever. How did the last time I spoke to you was in Madrid, and you were there. You were on a team with Sydney Michelasian, Noah Olsen, and Chandler Smith. And I remember at the time thinking, there was a word on the street was that Noah and Chandler were going to be on a team together from like this time last year almost. That was what was being said. And then around that time of year, people started kind of saying, oh, I'm not sure if that's going to happen because they're both on opposite sides of the country. Chandler's moved around a lot, probably doesn't want to move. Noah has never moved and probably doesn't want to move. So like, what's going to happen? And I remember in Madrid thinking, oh, is this a bit of a tug of war? Is this a bit of a like, hey, Lena, come on my team. Hey, no, Lena, come on my team. How did you end up on that team in Madrid in the first place? How did that kind of quadruple start?
There wasn't any war. No, it wasn't. I guess we did that team, and I guess I bonded more with Noah, or like I could really see him as a team athlete, and I was very curious to be on his team. He has some really good skills outside of being an amazing athlete, you know, but like as on a team, you want people who just like have some, I don't know how to say it, but special skills that works better on team. And I saw that in, not saying I didn't see it in Chandler. Chandler's an amazing team athlete too. There was just,
do you mean like social stuff, like as in like leadership and taking cues and giving cues, like that type of stuff rather than physical stuff?
Yeah, like he's very calm on the floor and leading and showing example. I think everyone who's ever trained with Noah are either amazed or annoyed by how much he can talk while doing like hard workouts. It's insane. He will do like a zone 5 workout and still be like just chatting. I don't know. Like I get nonverbal at that stage.
Is it annoying? Is it annoying?
Like, yes, no. Yeah, that's what's like either it's very annoying or it's actually just amazing.
Because I've had that where I go like before we started having kids, I used to go for a jog with my wife sometimes. And within 5 minutes, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, stop talking to me. Like, I'm in a hole and I need to just break through this wall and you just need to stop conversing with me.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. But it's a good skill too. And he's been working and learning a lot on how to use that skill. And it's very amazing and fun to see.
Was there a conversation about an actual affiliate cup team prior to Madrid? Is that why you went on a team in Madrid?
Yeah, I guess we just did that competition to have some 4-person competing together. Yeah. I reached out to Noah in June or something last year.
Okay.
And we said, hey, let's talk after games, and we did.
You knew before, because I remember speaking to you, like say this time last year, kind of, and you knew that quadruple from Oslo was disbanding, regardless of what happened. It was disbanding at the end of that season because some people wanted to go individuals, some people wanted to just stop, some people had like Elvin seems to just have to. He's in charge of Norway, basically, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
So he had other focuses and stuff. So you knew then, okay, this isn't going to happen. So I need to see you. I guess were you faced with a decision of, do I go individual or do I go for another run at the gold, basically?
Yeah, that was exactly the challenge or the options I had. I was thinking, oh, I have to go individual now, but like being presented with a super team and the opportunity to move abroad and do something like that, I was like, yeah, that sounds actually very fun and something I would like to do. Like expand my experience as both an individual athlete but also as a team athlete. You know, being in a different space than CrossFit Oslo.
How close are you to just going individual?
How close I was?
Yeah, like
I guess if
was
I
that on the
didn't
table?
end up on Noah's team, I wouldn't do like another team that wasn't a
Yeah.
super team. I wouldn't do another like I probably wouldn't do another affiliate or CrossFit Oslo team.
You wanted to be on a team that had strong potential, if not likelihood, to win. Basically,
Yeah,
you
that's
wanted to taste the
that's
goal,
the only
basically.
I wanted.
At the end of last season, then, so you talked to him in June, said let's talk afterwards, and then the games didn't go the way that you guys planned. Obviously, it didn't work out the way that you wanted to. You had thought that goal was on the table, and it just like you kind of. Would it be fair to say you kind of dug yourselves into a bit of a hole at the start and just couldn't get far enough out of it? Would that be accurate, do you think? Or
Yeah, something like that. We had some. Yeah, we just didn't have the season we wanted to, and we did our best. It was a hard competition that year, and we had, in some workouts, I'm not gonna say because our fitness was there, just some workouts, especially at the games where you can't prep enough, you can't, like, you don't know what's coming, you just get unlucky, like weird stuff happened. Like I lost my shoe during the running workout. Like someone stamped on my shoe and it flipped up and I had to run a full round with like a clog, like that shit just like running. We won the running events every other like, the previous years.
yeah,
I'm sure we would have placed way better without that happen, but it's just impossible to.
where did the shoe come off?
Hmm?
Whereabouts on the trail did the shoe come off?
No,
Did you have
like
to do it?
in
Was
the
it a loop?
starting, like just running out, it was so crowded and someone just stepped on my heel and the heel flipped off. So I had to like flex my foot running.
Oh, so the shoe was still on your
The
foot.
shoe was on, but the whole heel was off.
Jeez.
So I was like, guys, I need to stop. And they're like, no, 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 we can't stop because we're like in the lead. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, but at some point I need to take my shoe fully on.
And that was the 5K run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So you ran 5K on your tiptoe, basically on one foot.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Good
that's
start.
that's one thing. On the ring muscle up workout, it was like one round I just slipped through. I was so like slippery, and another person was like not locking. Like there was just so many small stuff happening. I think that I'm not saying it's like not just we were unlucky. Of course, if you're fit enough, you should win. But I think we had the ability to win. There's just like a lot of stuff happened and it didn't go exactly the way we planned. And I'm still very proud of how fit that team was and everything we put together on the navy blue team and how good we worked together and supporting each other. That was truly an amazing 3 years of my career. So
What about leaving Oslo then? Were you reluctant to? Obviously, it's nice to travel and stuff and see different places, but then like Oslo's become home, and it's like you were there for years and competed there for years. Was there part of you that like was reluctant to go, or was it all? Yeah, I'm good.
what does reluctant mean?
Was there part of you that didn't want to do it, like that didn't want to leave?
Yeah, for sure. No, 100% it was. And I still miss like the whole thing we had going on at CrossFit Oslo, being that kind of CrossFit hub in Europe with all these amazing athletes and the coaches and everything. It was difficult, but also knowing that this was going to be a once in lifetime kind of opportunity. And hopefully yeah, it's not something I'm gonna regret on living here a season, you know.
Um, Oslo, like the gym in Oslo is fucking nuts. Like
No.
it's absolutely massive.
Yeah,
It used to be a nightclub or something, everyone was saying. So it's like it's
it was.
massive.
Yeah,
And it's got like there could be 40 people in a class or whatever upstairs. There could be another class going on downstairs. And then you could walk into the open gym area and there could be 9 games athletes.
yeah.
It's just like all doing different stuff. Like it's crazy. And then what about peak? How does that compare? Because obviously there's a lot of things to consider. Like one, culturally, it's different because like Miami is, well, America is different from Europe.
For
Oslo
sure.
is different from Europe.
Yeah.
And then Miami is different from the rest of America from my experience of it. Was there any kind of culture shock or was it like, were you straight in of like, okay, yeah, I vibe with this. This is nice.
I vibe and I love it, but it's a culture shock still. Yeah. Um, just small stuff like obviously we're polite in Norway, but it's not like that chit chatty. You know, you don't stop and talk
Yeah.
that much. Here in Miami is like they're so saying hi and talking and chatting and all that, and there's dogs everywhere. Everyone's bringing their dog to the gym. There's just like, and that kind of makes training and everything just taking time. That's one thing, but it's a very nice and chill vibe. And we obviously have now very like, you had Noah and Annika and some other South American athletes training there. It was still like a good level of the athlete, but just not as many as we had in CrossFit Oslo. But
Yeah.
there were still athletes at like semi games level. But it's different, and it also just one big room. You know, when it's
Yeah.
classes, we can be there, but not really. Like we will maybe do our squats and strength pieces next to the class on the other side of the gym, but you can't really do workouts at the same time.
Yeah. You're not going to be chucking the worm about at the same time as
No.
them. Um, Have you guys changed anything from? So obviously Tola has been on like multiple teams.
Mhm.
He was on like the Reykjavik team. He was on Proven last year. So he obviously has a lot of experience coming into it. Noah has been around for like 40 years or whatever. Not on team, but he's been around a long time. Matilda's
Yeah.
done, so she's done team with the IF3 or whatever like a few times. Like that, the kind of group mentality, I guess, not an actual physical team, but the group mentality of it. And then you've been on team at Oslo for years. Have you changed? So obviously, I know Tola has kind of um, sort of like a player coach role, from what I understand. Like he's probably helping the coaches understand. He's like the in person, one of the in person like feedback people, like from what I gather anyway. But have you changed, or has he had to change to suit what you were doing with Oslo, to mirror that with what you're doing with Peak? Or have you had to change what you used to do at Oslo? Because I know that you guys trained last year. I know you changed your system a little bit and like started training like team stuff for the games more regularly than you had in previous years. But like for Noah coming from individual and then you guys are coming from different teams, how do you find a formula that works? This is a fucking long question. How do you find a formula that works for all of you to train together without over training the team aspect while also
Oh,
not neglecting it?
good question. If like just the structure of the training, how we train and stuff, because we did
Yeah.
change that with the navy blue team. Like also, it's different when you have some people, like with the navy blue, we had some people who had jobs, and like me and Ingrid would have part-time jobs. So like you couldn't, all of us couldn't be training together every day because it just didn't match up our schedules. Um, Here in Miami and the Team Peak, all of us are full-time athletes. All of us do have the time and like capacity to train every day at set times. And that's a structure that Tola had with the Reykjavik team, and he really liked it. And we have tried following that schedule. It's been working. We're like constantly trying to, because everything is new to this team. So we're trying to like change some stuff, but not really. It's Noah is a person who previously was really bad at like showing up at these times, because he's always been individual. He just shows up whenever he wants, and then he trains whatever he wants. Not like he has a coach, but still it's like the other people around him has to adjust to what he wants to do. And now he's been really good at like showing up at the training, like team times, and we have 2 sessions, so we're forcing him to go home and eat and then come back again. And
So you do two sessions a day together, the 4 of you.
Yeah, we do everything
And
together.
are they like you're all training a strength piece at the same time, or is it like, okay guys, we're going to do 2 workouts now, then go home and have lunch, then come back and do 2 more work? Like, is it workout training, or like, oh, let's do our strength but do it together as a team?
Both, everything.
Okay.
So it's like we show up, we have the same warm up, we have the same like strength pieces, almost like accessories, of course, are based on injuries and stuff, what we need to do. And then we have the same workouts, the same running stuff, the same. It's almost everything is the same. Some stuff are a little bit different, but not much.
Do you have any day, because you're obviously new to Miami, so the people you know and the contacts you have will be based around Peak, like so far. Like most of the people you know are going to go to that gym or be related to that gym somehow.
Yeah.
Have you got like some kind of system in place to like not train together and not be like, because obviously you get overkill and just get sick of each other and sick of spending time in the same 4 walls or whatever?
You mean, no, rephrase that question. What do you mean?
So like if you guys train together twice a day, every day, apart from whatever, you have a rest day or something, maybe an active recovery day, like how do you avoid
Getting sick of each other?
yeah, like oversaturation, or just like, 'cause especially for you, because Noah lives in Miami, so he probably
Yeah, I
has
agree, 'cause I don't
childhood
have anyone
friends and
else.
school
Yeah, I
friends
agree.
and whatever that he can go and talk to.
Yeah.
But like for you or Tola or Matilda, like you're probably going to want to hang out with Matilda or Tola, you know what I mean? Because or Annika or whoever's from Peak already.
Yeah. No, we I think we handled that pretty well. Like we actually still do some stuff outside of the gym on top of all that training together. But also if you're working hard and you're like, I think some athletes will agree to this, but athlete life is fucking boring. It's waking up, going to the gym, having lunch, going to the gym, and then you go home and make food for the next day and eat. That's it's not much to do. We try to do other stuff, but damn, I've been here for now 5 months, and that's basically what I've done. I go up to the pool and have a swim or lay in the sun sometimes, but it's we do get sick of each other sometimes, and then we still train together, but we don't spend as much time together outside of the gym. And then when we can and we want, we spend some time together.
I've always been curious.
He will be like every week. He's like, "You guys coming to the cinema? You're gonna watch this movie. You wanna join this?" And then usually Tola is like, "Nope, I'm laying like I'm gonna be inside all day. It's a rest day or something." And maybe Matty joins, and maybe I join, maybe not.
Poor Noah. he's like a little puppy. Anybody want to play? With I was always curious about that when I see athletes like on the beach or like at the pool or whatever. Is there a limit on how much time you can spend outside? As in, not like daylight hours, but like that obviously impacts your recovery if you're lying out in the sun. Like it's harder on your body. Is there any kind of like rules around that, or no?
There's no like set rules, but I think we just try to limit it.
Okay.
I will never do tanning time in between sessions. And like maybe if you have a short day and I'm done at like 3 o'clock, I can like take an hour or something, or if it's a rest day and I feel fully rested and I have everything under control, like all my food and whatever I need to fix that's checked out, I can go to the beach or something, but it's just not that often.
Yeah. Are you from Norway originally? Like from Oslo?
Actually Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. And then I'm up north, Norway. That's where I grew
Oh,
up.
so I remember I was talking to Ivan. Are you near where he's from?
He's also up north. He's a little bit more north than me, but almost.
Because he was saying that, like, this fucking blew my mind. But he was saying that in winter that you could have like days of absolutely no daylight, or maybe like 1 hour or half an hour or something, and then in summer you could have like 24 hours of just like blue sky, sunny.
Yeah. No, it's like that, and it's crazy. And that's also, I think like 3 years ago I started thinking about it because I was starting to be almost a full-time athlete and having this like boring life I just explained to you, and having that kind of life and not seeing the sun, that's hard. Just like it gets so depressing, because you go to the gym in the morning, it's pitch black, you're there all day, and you go home and it's pitch black again. Like you lost those 2 hours where it's not sunlight but daylight, like it's gloomy outside. You lost those 2 hours and then you go home again, and that's just very hard on the body and your mind and everything. So I was like, wait, I have a job that I can do everywhere, like any place on earth I can do this job.
Yeah.
And I decide to do it in like this depressing place with no sun. Just in the winter, at least. Like my plan was originally to like, hey, I want to have enough sponsors and be able to live somewhere else November to March or something. Just because
do like a Luka Jukic on it, where you go to like Dubai or whatever for 3 months. Yeah,
exactly. And that never happened because of the team. They always did team, and I was like, okay, I just have to stay here. And of course, we survived, and I enjoyed it. It was fine. But now having the possibility to be in Miami for a full season, I was like, yeah, sign me up. It's time. It's time to go somewhere sunny.
So Jake Chapman has sent in 2 comments back to back that I think are unrelated, but read out together are ridiculous. I walked naked through a hotel lobby in Gothenburg once, and then immediately afterwards, he said, makes you harder doing it in the cold, toughens you up. I don't think those two messages are related to each other, but read back to back, you get a specific kind of picture in your head about walking through a naked through a hotel lobby and it making you harder. But anyway,
makes you harder. What you mean it makes you? Does he mean he makes you tougher?
I think he's talking about you saying, I think he's talking about you saying in the dark and the cold, it makes one tougher doing it. But the fact that he said it directly after walking naked through a hotel lobby just really added an extra layer to it. What age were you when you moved to Norway then? Was that like, did you do that for CrossFit, move to Norway?
Oh, no. I was 4. I just born in Sweden, moved to Norway, grew up up north Norway, and then I moved to Oslo when I was 20 something.
Do you consider yourself Swedish or Norwegian then?
Now Norwegian. I fully changed my citizenship. I was Swedish, and then I had to change it to compete for Norway.
Oh, in the IF3 thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that arduous, changing your citizenship? Is that tricky or easy?
It was hard, yeah. Like the application and stuff. But apparently, if you say you're going to compete in a world championship, you get a lot of loopholes.
Like they find rules.
Yeah, that's like it's like, are you a refugee? Are you blah, 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 blah? And then there's a small, like, are you competing in a world championship?
Do you like CrossFit? Tick this box if you do CrossFit. We've got a guy who really likes CrossFit that works here, and he'll find the loopholes. That's interesting. Have you been back? Do you go back to Sweden or no? Obviously not now when you're in Miami, but when you were in
Not that
Oslo.
much. I have some, like my grandma and aunt living there, so growing up I would go there every summer, but now it's been a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how come, what decision led to a 4-year-old packing her bag and saying, I'm moving to Oslo? Was it like, or Norway, was it like work or like family moving for work or what?
My family moved for work, yeah, and then there were like, I don't know, I moved when I was 4. When I was 6, we got into foster care, all of us. We were 6 siblings.
Okay.
And so yeah, the reason for work, I don't know, they decided they wanted to move. I'm not like super sure about that decision, but hey, I ended up in Norway, so I'm happy with that.
And did the 6 of you move together to one? How does that? Did you move to like a home? Did you move to a family? Did you move to relatives? How does that work? If there's 6, I imagine that's pretty tricky to stick together.
Yeah, so I'm the youngest one of 6. um I like to think that's why I have like the competitive mindset, being youngest, and I was wanting so bad to do whatever they did. um and like they would never let me win, so I would actually have to work hard for it. But no, we 2 of them were old enough to live by themselves. 2 went to a different foster family, and then me and my brother went to another foster family. So
How
we
old
kind of
were
split up.
the How old were the older two
15 and 16.
to live on their own?
Yeah,
What?
I know. It's crazy, and it's all very, very crazy.
I guess I
all,
guess
all,
it's
all of my
probably so hard
siblings.
that they just find a way to not put people into foster care. So it's like, oh, you're over 14, cool. Here's a job on a building site. Like
Yeah,
you can live on your
basically.
own.
It's
That's
hard, and
crazy.
it's really hard finding foster care homes. Usually they want to find like um a relative or
Yeah,
something, but we didn't have any.
or probably like a cute baby, or you know what I mean,
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
like
Not
a
a 14-year
15-year-old
old.
or yeah.
No. So
So
but yeah,
you went with the next one up from you.
yeah, he was 2 years older than me.
So you were 6, he was 8,
Yeah.
and then what age were the other two?
They were then 10 and 12, I think. Yeah.
And they went together, but not with you
Yeah.
guys. And
No.
were they nearby or no?
Mm, both yes and no. It was like 40 minutes, I think, away. It's changed a lot because it's hard with foster care families, and it's hard with a different parents.
Yeah,
Just like my parents never liked the foster parents. And like when your real parents are telling kids or telling you that, hey, these people are bad, or the foster care system is bad, and it's just very easy to for kids to change home if they want to,
yeah. Well,
sadly.
you're gonna believe your parents when your parents tell you something as well.
Of
Like
course, of course.
especially when you're 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So were you guys like, did your parents give you up or were your parents told to give you up?
No, they were told to give us up. Yeah.
Okay. Is that
I,
hard
I
to
was very
happen?
young, so I was only 6, and I was very like protected to the whole
Yeah, yeah.
situation. Like so, it was just like there were some people coming home, and they would be like asking how I was, and my mom prepped me to just say you're fine, and then school people would ask you how you are, and you're just like I'm fine, and then suddenly one day at school they just like, hey, you're leaving, and you never see your parents again, or you see them again but you moved. It was a
Okay.
weird situation, and I think I was just too young to really understand what was happening.
So is that like the school had concerns, you think, and said to whoever, oh, you need to have a look at this family. We're worried about Lena or we're worried about
Yeah,
the brother or whatever. Okay.
yeah.
But you don't remember anything as being bad.
It was, yeah, it was. No, like you're just too young to know it's bad, you know.
Well, like in hindsight, it was bad.
In hindsight, yeah,
Yeah.
of course I know it was bad. Like, you're not supposed to go to sleep listening to screams and shouts and yell, like breaking glasses and stuff like that. I just didn't know, like, your parents aren't supposed to sleep all day, it's
Okay.
stuff that, yeah, you just
It was
really
your
don't
it was
know.
your normal. It was your normal. So you had nothing else. It's not like
Yeah,
you could be a different 4-year-old in a different house and be like, wait a minute, this isn't what my house is like. Like it was your only experience of being a 4-year-old was being a 4-year-old in
yeah,
your own house. So it just probably seemed
exactly.
normal. And what about the older siblings? Were they like, in hindsight now, were you like, oh shit, they were hyper aware of what was going on and like,
I think they were more aware, and for me, I think everyone was just protecting me and not telling me what was going on. And of course, that's what we want to do for a little kid, but I was 13 or 14 when they told me, like, more of it, like the whole story. It was like, this is the real reason why you couldn't live at home.
okay,
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But everyone was just too afraid of telling. Like, my
yeah,
foster parents didn't want to tell because they didn't want to make my parents look bad. My parents obviously didn't tell me, and like my sisters and siblings were just like, she's too young.
how often did you see the two or the other four? Like, say you obviously saw one that you were with regularly, but what about the other four?
It depended. You would see them maybe once a month, or like you had like visiting times for that, like scheduled.
That's crazy. You must have been so confused.
Yeah, it was very confusing. But
Did you
it's
ever think
also
it was?
like,
Did you ever think it was like? Did you ever think it was your fault? Did you ever like blame yourself?
no, but I was very like aware of the fact that it was unfair.
Yeah, yeah,
Because everyone told me too, like, it's not your fault. And it kind of made me grow up with this believing that the world did stuff to me that was just not fair. Like, I felt very out of control.
yeah,
And I guess a part of the CrossFit journey I had is more like, okay, me taking control of my life and actually writing my own story. And I would always, like, as a kid too, I would be like, this is so unfair. Like, when you're watching a movie and stuff, and you're just like, secretly I'm a princess. Like, secretly someone's gonna pick me up and just be like, no, you're a princess. Or like, those movies when they're just like, oh, maybe you want to be a supermodel, and just like
yeah, yeah.
blink your
You're waiting for the third act happy ending twist. Basically, you're waiting for the
yeah,
great piece of the movie that's just not coming or wasn't coming.
yeah. But I was never giving up, and I was working very hard. I was really good in school, always good in sports and stuff like that. I'm very proud of how hard I worked, and all my siblings too. Like, we're all of us in a very good place, and it's kind of, yeah, astonishing and remarkable that we all turned out so good, because usually foster kids are not,
Yeah.
like, they not usually, I don't want to say this, like, if someone else in foster kid is might
Yeah.
not, but
Well, the
the
classic story
general
you hear is
assumption,
that
yeah,
it doesn't work
exactly.
out well. Yeah.
Yeah, like, the assumptions are you're in a foster care, so you end up on the street yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it like substance abuse or alcohol abuse or just like arguing and stuff that was the cause of it? Or
No substance abuse, yeah.
were
Like,
you ever worried about yourself then with that you'd end up doing something or that you'd end up like dabbling?
I sometimes, yeah, I'm very, very aware of not doing anything. Like, I never even smoked a cigarette. I will drink alcohol, but never even trying anything drug related.
I guess your lifestyle now lends itself perfectly to, like, you're fucked if you do.
Yeah.
So it's an extra reason not to.
Obviously, but even just like marijuana, I know that's just I would never even try it.
Yeah. Do you see your siblings and your parents regularly now? Like, are you good with your family, or is it kind of hard to talk to them? Or
My siblings, yeah, I'm very close to my siblings. My parents, no,
what
I
about your
never.
foster parents? Were you with the same foster family for like 10 years, or okay?
I was with the same foster parents for almost 15, 16 years.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I lived there until I was okay. I moved out when I was 18, but like I was under them legally until I
Yeah, like
was
part of the
22, I
family,
guess.
basically. To,
Yeah. So I have a very good relationship with them, with my siblings, not with my parents, but I just learned that sometimes even if they're your blood, if they haven't proven to be good to you, then maybe sometimes it's easier to just not have that relationship.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So if the older siblings, the 15-year-old and whatever, if they were like turfed out basically because they were too old, does that mean that the foster family that took you in, could they have decided when you were 15, like, yeah, we're done with her? Like, do they have to actively say, no, we want to keep her around and we like her and whatever?
Mm, yes and no.
Like, do they ever adopt you or anything, or try to adopt you, or how does it work? Like, what's the system?
No, it doesn't really work like that.
Okay.
They no, I we just have a good thing with me living there. They didn't have to adopt me.
Okay.
And was never in the books for that.
But they're your
But
legal, or
it was
were your
easy
legal
because
guardians.
if me as a kid didn't want to live there, that would be easy for me to just say like,
Okay. Yeah.
"Hey, I don't like it here. Like, you need to move me," and then the the foster care would have to move me. But
But you never
I
did
just
that.
no, I
That's
was
good.
good, you know.
Um, how did you discover CrossFit? How did you find CrossFit? Were you doing different sports first, or what?
I did soccer and gymnastics growing up. I always wanted to like try everything. I wasn't really, not that I wasn't allowed to, but just like financially we couldn't support me doing everything. I remember all my friends would go to dancing or like playing handball or like something else, but it was like, okay, if you have this one sport, that's enough, you know. So I did gymnastics, which was very fun, and I'm very happy I did gymnastics. And then started studying. I my first year I was 18, I think. 18, 19, 19. And this girl I was studying with, she was doing CrossFit, and she just like, hey, you seem to like, it seems like you would fit for CrossFit. Because I was already like going to the gym. I'd done gymnastics before. I was like pretty strong and like sporty. I would do everything, you know. And she's just like, come by, you would probably like it. And I did. But I was also studying and partying and just doing CrossFit for fun. I never believed it would be like a sport. It was more like doing something to stay fit, you know.
What did she? Why did she think you'd like it? Did she just want you to come with her, or did she actually think like, oh, you could be good at this?
I think she could actually like she saw me as you could be good at this, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember she was this super like athlete person. Like she would never go out drinking with us. She was always like strict on her diet and eating, and she was
She
a
was bored. She was boring. You can say it.
she was boring, but she was for me. That was like, oh wow, I could never do that. You know, I was always making excuses because I felt like I had to do everything else. You know,
Yeah.
and that wasn't in the cards for me, like being an athlete. And then even when I started at CrossFit Oslo 4 years later or something, I've just been doing CrossFit for fun, like going in the gym, doing today's workout, and then going out. You know. Um, and then suddenly gradually the people I surrounded myself with were more and more athletes. Like they were drinking less, they were focus on their sleep and focus on their eating, and just like my habits slowly become better and better. And especially Ingrid, my previous teammate, she was so dialed in. Like, she's been an athlete her whole life. Like, she's so like good on everything. And just training and being a lot with her, I was like, oh wow, 6 hours of sleep is not enough, you know?
What?
Sorry.
People sleep more than 6 hours? I didn't know. Nobody told me this.
Exactly. And I was unnatural. Like, I had talent. I was just naturally good in CrossFit without even trying. But when I finally were saying to myself, like, I am doing this, like I want to be competing and being an athlete, that's when a lot of things changed.
And was this all in Oslo? Like, did you start doing CrossFit in Oslo?
No, I started up in Trondheim. They had a team.
That's Matilda owns a gym there, doesn't she?
Matilda's gym, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at your what do you call it? Games page, your games profile.
Oh yeah, it's not very impressive.
So 15, 16, you registered but didn't do it, is it? Or you
I
didn't
did it. I just did everything because I, had other stuff to do. I went out. Usually, I went out partying on Thursday, and I did the open workouts on Friday, but like hangover.
Okay, yeah, fair.
That was my open.
So then, what around here was when you started saying like, okay, maybe I should start listening.
Yeah,
to
that's when
English.
I moved to. That's when I moved to CrossFit Oslo. So I actually had a year absence from CrossFit just because it got expensive and I didn't really have the money to do it. It had like in 18 and 19, I always had to like ask my siblings for money to compete at. To just sign up to a competition. I was like, hey, can I borrow money? Because I was just.
I need $10 for the judges course.
Yeah.
Is that disappointing that you came third in Oslo, moved over to Miami, and came third in B360?
What is this? Ranked by affiliate? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so you came third in CrossFit Oslo, then third in CrossFit Oslo, then you moved to Miami. We all know that's the real reason you moved affiliate, was because you wanted to be the fittest in the affiliate, and you came third again. That's so disappointing.
Very disappointing. No, that's fine, actually.
With Peak, so actually, when was the last time you updated these?
I don't know.
Why don't athletes update them all the time? Why don't they? What is it, like laziness or is it secretiveness?
I think I never done Chad. I don't know my Helen. I don't know my Filthy Fifth. I just don't know these. I don't do them.
That's not an accurate clean and jerk, is it? 115.
The clean is 115, but the jerk is 113, I think.
Okay. And that run 5K, you need to update. You need to put little asterisks without a heel.
Exactly.
With Oslo, I remember talking to you guys and just like casual conversations as well as on the show and stuff. And you were kind of saying like, yeah, it's nice to do well in the open. It's nice to do well in quarterfinals. It's nice to do well at semifinals, but like, we don't really give a shit. Like, we want, like, the games is what we want, and the games is where we peak, and the games is like, that's what we're training for, and that's what the focus is. So winning these things on the way is like cool or whatever, but like also like not really that cool. Like, we don't really care. Is there a different mindset with peak because you guys have won? Like, you won quarterfinals, you've won semifinals. Like, is that a deliberate thing that you're trying to, when you're competing together, compete as well as you possibly can, rather than just like, let's save it for Texas kind of thing?
Kind of yes and no. I think this team is just a little bit more all year round fit than the Navy Blue team was. We would like the Navy Blue. We were like, okay, we know in open we aren't just fit at all, know, like, but we are fit enough to make it to the next stage. And then quarterfinals too was like, we are a little bit fitter, but still not super fit,
So you're getting fitter as you went through each stage.
Noah's just 365 days of the year, he is crazy fit. Matilda is also kind of like that. Me and Tola a little bit more like we're peaking, we're getting better and better. So it's a little bit of both. I also know Noah really likes, and I agree on that. Like it's nice winning. We won the Open to the quarters and now the semis. But I think we all know that games is what matter. Like we knew we are gonna make the next stage, so it wasn't like we were training for semis to make it. We're still been training for games. It's just been very nice that we were winning on the way.
When you see other teams start to be announced, are you like, oh yeah, this is going to be epic now? Like it's going to be so good going up against that Invictus team. Oh fuck that! Like Cara Saunders that's going to be an epic team. Her and Khan and those guys. Or are you seeing the teams be announced and being like, shit?
I'm kind of nervous. Yeah, of course. But it's also very fun that we have good teams to go up against. Is going to make the whole thing more worth it. I think, let's say there were no good teams and we just knew we were going to win. I don't think that would feel that epic,
Yeah.
And it has to be a fight. It's good.
It's interesting as
and
well.
I'm not saying we're going to win. Like we will have to really, really fucking fight for it. So that's our motivation now. They're good. The other teams have done so good during semis, and we've seen that. We know it. We know we still have some stuff to work on, and there's still 2 more months. So
when you guys were, so obviously you were the last semi-final to go, were you looking at like, all right, here's that, it's kind of tricky to compare the first workout, I guess, but the rest of them, you knew that everything would be equal in the other tests, apart from maybe some judging differences or whatever, but everything else would be equal. For you guys at Knoxville, was it a case of, so I guess you got 3 options. You execute as well as you possibly can, and wherever the cards fall, they fall. That's option 1. Option 2 is just like ass fuck everybody in your heat and like dominate. That's option 2. Like beat whoever's in front of us. We have to come first, and if there's someone ahead of us, we have to chase them down and beat them. That's option 2. And then option 3 is set records. Look at what Cara's team did in workout 3. Look at what like Invictus did in workout 2. We need to do better than Khan and James did. We need to do better than, like, are you looking like which of those options is accurate? Is it that you're just trying to do the best you possibly can? Is it that you want to beat everybody in Knoxville and come first? Or is it that you want to beat the scores that have been set by the best teams already?
Yeah, I get you. A little bit of both, I guess. We really wanted, like during training, we were like looking at the world records, trying to beat them, but obviously it's different when you're competing. Also going into semis, not as an excuse at all, but Matti had been home, and when she got like home in Norway and then coming back to Miami, she got sick and got the flu. So me, Tola, and Noah were testing a lot of the workouts. And then she was a little bit sick, and just I don't think she really kept to hold us back that much or anything. It just made the prep a little bit different than we expected going in.
Does that frustrate you when you're on a team and so like obviously
Yeah,
when she goes it's like, oh, that's not ideal, and then when she comes back and gets sick, it's like, I fucking knew this would happen.
It's frustrating, it is, of course, but it's like now it's nothing to do about it, and then going into games we're just going to be extra cautious, but nobody getting sick, obviously.
Yeah.
How
How do you legislate against that?
Huh?
How do you legislate against that? Like, what do you do to not let people get sick? Do you just do what Tola does and just like go home and watch Netflix?
Yes, basically. You have to be cautious with other people, maybe isolating a little bit. And then hygiene, like don't go hug everyone in the gym. Even if you can, it's just a very easy way to.
Yeah, actually, I remember seeing Noah in Miami, and I think I saw Chandler doing it too. But at Wadapalooza, anyone that Noah shook hands with, he like cleaned his hands straight afterwards, or like used hand sanitizer straight afterwards.
Noah, during like the weeks leading up to a competition, he's a germaphobe. Yeah.
Yeah. He said that he was bad. Like he was always a bit bad. And then around the time of COVID and stuff, when it became like, oh, you could miss the games if you get sick, or you could miss this competition if you get sick, whatever, he just like became a freak about it, basically.
Yeah. So there's obviously stuff you can do. And I think COVID kind of taught us all how to do it. And it's not bulletproof plan to not get sick, but it helps, you know, and like traveling, wearing a mask, you know, because you're with a lot of people, stuff like that. But things can still happen. And I know Matty, she was cautious and she still got sick, and that's just bad luck, you know. But whatever, we still had a nice semifinals. We still ended up on top of that podium. We didn't get any world records, but we're still. Oh, actually, Tola did one.
Yeah, Tola put a barbell out. Tola's going to get a world record, basically.
So that's good. So we got one-ish, a quarter of a world record, I guess.
It's funny because like I have, like I've always had an interest in teams. I don't really know why. I think it's because I always like team sports. Like I always like football and stuff. So then I kind of gravitate. And like there are some kind of issues with team in CrossFit, because especially like it was actually not too bad this year, but at semi-final level it tends to be like ridiculously hard to follow what's happening, and ridiculously hard to like, if my father-in-law walked in and sat down and started watching it, he'd be like, what's happening? And like that's not what you want in a sport.
To be honest, as a non-American, that's how it is to just like trying to watch American football.
Yeah. But
like if you don't know if you walk in, like, what the F is going on?
But if you walk into a doubles tennis match,
that too,
you can be like, all right, those two are against those two that have to hit the ball over and back. Or like golf, you're like, all right, he has to hit that ball all the way down in, or she has to hit that ball all the way down. Or if you're watching like football, it's like, okay, the guys in red are against the guys in blue. Okay, I'm following. You might not understand the offside rule, but you're like, okay, I'm following what's happening. American football
is hard because it's
but
not
you can
just like
you might not be able to follow the rules, as in you might not, like I still don't understand what a fucking flag on the play means or any of that shit, but I understand that the aim is to throw the ball from one end to the other and to walk over a line with the ball in your hand.
You could say for CrossFit, it's just like whoever crosses the finish line first, you know, that's the aim.
Yeah,
and then you don't know what's going on until then. That's the same. Me watching American football is just like
that's fair. But I think my issue with
I don't know.
My issue with team CrossFit, it's more so the semifinals level than anything else. Is because when you're watching like 4 heats or whatever, and everybody's crammed in like sardines in this small little thing, and then the games is different because it's a larger space, or historically it's been a larger space at least, so you can kind of move up and down the floor and you can do these different bits, whatever. But I remember last year there was a workout last year that had burpees over the worm. And I just remember like looking at the screen and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Who is leading or what is going on? And I couldn't follow.
Like ADHD, but I think
you couldn't even pick out the fucking teams. I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's the Mayhem team on the left, but I'm not 100%. I think that's a major flaw with it's sometimes can be a flaw with individual CrossFit too, but it's a major flaw with team CrossFit. It's very hard to get it right. I think the visual spectacle of it, like the ease to follow.
Yeah, I think when they do the rep visual, like who's leading, that helps a lot. Like it's just not the actual competition and the people competing, but it's also like how they stream it and how they choose to like show it. You know,
I think
versus the games.
This is good too. I think like
in uniforms, I agree. Like putting a special uniform, like I like the pink team, and we actually been talking about this for our team, like Team Peak, creating Team Peak. We were like, why don't we have uniforms? Like, why don't we have like, this is our color, we have our sponsors on it, you know, and like making it.
You just have like Richter, like Mark, that's going to be too many letters, Tola. You could just have like whatever name on the back, like Noah or Olsen or whatever you want on the back. And then it's way easier for the commentators. It's way easier for the people. But then the issue you run into is Goruk or whoever are probably going to be like, fuck that. We want Goruk massive on the front, or we want, like whatever on the back. So that's, and also you like whoever, Northern Spirit or Goruk or whoever's doing, I don't even know what's happening there, but whoever's doing the apparel for the games, they're going to say like, all right, we've got brown t-shirts, green t-shirts and black t-shirts. Then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, but that team wants to wear pink. We've got brown t-shirts, green t-shirts, and black t-shirts. It's like, take your pick.
No, it
That's the
would be
tricky
cool if
part.
it was more like a normal team sport. But something I do like with the game or a CrossFit team sport is the fact that we put two women and two men together, like
Yeah.
doing fitness together, and that's something you don't really see in any other sport. No.
Yeah. It's the same in the individual as well. The fact that prize money is the same. The fact that like it's perfectly equal and
Yeah,
inclusive.
they're basically doing the same. Like, imagine seeing a soccer game and like half of the players are female and male. You could
Yeah.
do it, like
Yeah.
in some capacity. Yeah.
What? So the aim is to win then this year. That's the North Star. Is that accurate?
Is that the next question? You're just like smoothly, like the aim is to win.
Yeah. I just like,
Yeah.
because it's, I guess what you're used to hearing, the answer that you're used to hearing from people is, well, we'll see what happens. And if, like you can never control and blah, blah. But I kind of feel like it's different for you guys.
I kind of want to say that. And I also like, I don't want to be super cocky, but I've been on the podium 3 times at the games now on a team. It's been second, and third. And it's very for me and the rest of the team as well. Like, we're aiming for the top and we're trying to do everything, like everything we do, everything like how we live and all of that is really, yeah, to be on top. And obviously stuff can happen. Like, we don't know how well prepared the other
Yeah,
people
blah
are,
blah
but
blah.
yeah, we win.
Terms and conditions apply. Blah blah blah. Terms and
Blah,
conditions
blah, blah, blah,
apply.
blah, blah.
Read
Yeah.
read the small print.
Yeah. We win.
Yeah, but where I was going with the like following teams and stuff, this year I feel like I kind of say this every year, but this year I feel like there's a lot of teams that could win it, and a lot of teams that could, like, you could basically pick anyone from the top 10 and be like, oh, if they perform to their full potential, like, they could win it.
Of course.
And it's also probably the first, like, usually when I'm watching the games, I'm like, all right, I really want that team to win. And like, that's my team that I want to win. And like, I have that for you guys because I think you've had so many nearly moments that it's like, come on, like, just like get a gold and then it's great. Noah has been around the sport for so long, but he's never had his own moment. Like, obviously he'd have to share it with you losers, but he's
Him
never
too
had his own
also.
moment.
No, but him too, he also got second once. Like, he's never
Yeah.
been on top of the podium, and we talked about it and he was like, shit, if we win, that would, like, for him make a 10-year goal,
Yeah.
like standing on top of that podium. Even if it's on a team, it's like you get a gold medal at the CrossFit Games. That's a big fucking thing.
It's the same with Tola, because I feel like I feel like he deserves recognition for turning himself into the perfect team athlete. That I think he deserves to have it. I don't know Matilda, but I assume she's nice. But then I also had, but then I started, the more I looked around, I was like, oh shit, but I'd like Khan to do well, but like Newbury to do, like, you start kind of, it's the first year it's been like that, because other years it's like, all right, I don't know half of these teams. I know these 5 and I really like that one. Or like, I don't know, like, whatever I feel about Noah, I feel the same thing about Chandler. Do you know, like, and you're kind of stuck in that, like, it'll be tricky to, I just want everyone to win. No, but it'd be tricky to root for one over the others, because there's actually a lot of, the thing that the CrossFit, the sport, I feel is built on is the stories. And there's a lot of stories on the team side this year. For the first time in a long time, there's a shit ton of stories to be told just about teams. Do you think, can you see a time where they'll split, like where you'll have the individuals will be in Texas in August and the teams will be in Texas in September or something like that? Do you think that it'll ever go the way the Masters and Adaptive went?
Yeah, I heard about someone saying that. In some ways, I'm like, that would be cool. I just don't hope it would turn into even less people watching teams, But I think it would be cool, because hopefully, or like maybe, that would mean even more super teams,
Depending on when it was, you could have someone.
Exactly. People could go to games as an individual and then be like, suddenly have a team with Tia,
Or even you could have people going individual, say like an Annika who goes individual and misses out and then says, all right, well, I guess I'll go team now in September
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
individual. So it elongates the season
yeah.
for people who just miss
And
out.
and for me, that would mean like finally I would have a shot at trying to go individual.
Yeah.
Like actually doing a semifinal individually.
Yeah.
That would be super cool. Just having that shot and trying. Just the last 3-4 years, I never even had the shot because I had to do the team semis.
Yeah. Um, there's obviously a bigger spotlight on you this year than other years because it's like Peak and Noah and like he's very famous in CrossFit and stuff.
Very, very
Um,
famous.
have you found that enjoyable, like the fact that there's more attention, or have you found it frustrating that you didn't get the same attention with Oslo, say, that you're getting now with Peak, when it's like we were just as good or whatever? Or do you find that is it bringing extra pressure, the fact that like, oh shit, like everybody expects us to win now as opposed to being dark horses?
Um, Both yes and no. To be honest, I sometimes felt more the pressure with navy blue because we had, so like you said, we were this affiliate team, and
Yeah.
I think those like true, not true, but like it just seemed like the people following us and following our story were very like intense, and there were so many looking into that story, and especially Europe. I know when we posted that we were completely done, there was an overwhelming amount of messages from European athletes and European teams just saying that, hey, you guys really like started the European journey for teams, because before us there were no European teams on that podium. Like
Yeah.
the team side of for Europe was just non-existing, and then after we did that, it's just been so many good European teams, and they're up there and they're working for it. And yeah, with Team Peak, where like Noah's bringing a lot of hype to it, but for me personally, had maybe more, I don't know, attention and spotlight on the navy blue team almost. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
get it.
that's correct for the old side, where maybe people think differently, but
I guess you personally had more
yeah,
with Oslo, yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic to be thrust into the spotlight, especially when it's like, because Noah's such a big personality as well. He's not. He's not like, he doesn't shy away from media responsibilities, or he doesn't shy away from like showing himself, or putting himself in front of the camera or whatever. So yeah, it's probably just different, I guess, because I look at like Elvin doesn't even fucking have Instagram. So it's
no,
like he's totally couldn't be more opposite. Like he's
exactly.
yeah,
No,
I've done a few things. I've been like, oh, I must tag Elvin in that, and then it's like, oh no, I can't, because he's a fucking granddad and he doesn't have Instagram.
that is so good. You call it Elvin. Oh my god, that's still stuck. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Elvin
listen,
incredible.
I really appreciate giving up your time. Congrats on the weekend. Congrats on Knoxville. Good luck with Texas
Yeah.
and the rest of the season and stuff. And I'm sure we'll talk to each other between now and then. But yeah, congrats and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. It was fun talking for over an hour.
Yeah,
An hour.
it only felt like, well, for me, it felt like 10 minutes. For you, it probably felt like 4 hours.